Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into a really cool set of ideas, and we're going to try to connect the dots between two worlds that usually feel miles apart, the hard science of quantum physics and the deep inner world of spirituality. Now, the source material we're digging into today is refreshingly honest. It basically says right up front, hey, this collection of thoughts from science and mysticism and personal stories, it might feel a little all over the place, kind of like trying to catch leaves in the wind. But that's exactly what we're going to do in this explainer. We're on the hunt for that single unifying thread. You know, the one big idea that can take all these seemingly random pieces and weave them together into one cohesive story about what reality is really all about. To help us out, the source gives us this fantastic metaphor to work with. Picture this: two laboratories, both searching for the exact same thing, the ultimate truth. On one side, you've got the scientist in the external lab, using tools and math to study the world out there. And on the other, you have the mystic in the internal lab, using direct experience to study the world in here. Okay, so let's jump in. We're going to start in the scientist's external lab. Because, you know, what modern physics is starting to find out about the universe, well, it's starting to sound surprisingly mystical. So, at the very heart of it all is something called quantum field theory. It tells us that reality isn't really made of solid little things, like tiny marbles. Instead, everything is made of these invisible, interconnected fields of energy that exist everywhere all at once. The particles we see, they're just little vibrations, or excitations, in these fields. And this idea of tuning into some kind of universal field, it's not as new as you might think. The legendary inventor Nikola Tesla described his own mind as a receiver, basically tuning into a universal source to get his incredible ideas. He wasn't just calculating, he felt like he was connecting to something bigger. And you can see this shift in the very language they use. It's so powerful. Physicist Michio Kaku, he doesn't talk about reality like it's a machine. He talks about it like it's music. He calls the universe a grand symphony, and you and me, we're the melodies being played.
And get this, even Einstein himself reminded us that to really understand the universe, you need more than just facts and figures. You need imagination, the ability to see beyond what's known. And isn't that the exact same tool the mystic uses in their internal lab?
So, let's switch labs. Let's head over to that internal lab now, because mystics had been describing this exact same fundamental reality for thousands of years, just using their own language of inner experience.
I mean, check this out. Across so many different cultures, different religions, different points in history, you see this one idea pop up over and over again: a divine unspoken word or sound current. It's this fundamental vibration that's believed to be the creative force behind, well, everything. In Sikh scripture, they talk about this as Jyoti, or the divine light. It's described as a single source, one light that everything and everyone comes from. And the takeaway from that is pretty profound. If we all come from the same light, then how can anyone really be called better or worse, higher or lower? The mystic poet Kabir puts this so beautifully. He's saying that the light of the universe, the sound of eternity, it's not out there somewhere. It's all happening right inside of us right now. We just don't have the inner senses tuned to perceive it. It's like both labs are actually looking at the very same thing. So that's the million-dollar question, right? How do these two labs connect? How does the quantum field of the physicist link up with the inner light of the mystic? Well, the source material suggests the bridge is something we all have: the human body. The chakra system, which is basically an ancient energy map of the body, is presented here as a kind of ladder of consciousness. The idea is that our energy can evolve, right? It can move from being stuck in the lower centers focused on survival and personal power all the way up that ladder to the crown, which represents a connection to the entire universe. And this is where it gets really mind-blowing. Here's the proposed physical link. These spiritual energy centers are said to line up one for one with the major glands of our endocrine system. You know, the actual glands that create the hormones that control our mood, our stress, our entire physical being. It's a direct bridge from subtle energy to our physical biology.
And all of this leads us to the final and maybe the most important part of this whole story: the idea that this isn't just a bunch of cool theories. It's actually a personal experiment. a way to understand the universe by understanding yourself.
So the argument goes that practices like meditation are a kind of practical alchemy. They let us take the dense, stuck energy of survival emotions, fear, anger, guilt, and actually transform them into higher frequency states like compassion and joy. You're effectively learning to tap into that quantum field of infinite possibility for yourself.
Thinker Michael Singer calls this the surrender experiment. He suggests that instead of constantly fighting reality with what our minds think should happen, we can choose to align ourselves with the flow of life, trusting that the same intelligence that keeps the stars in the sky is also handling the moment right in front of us.
Ultimately, this whole explainer really just leaves us with one huge question to think about. We spend billions of dollars on telescopes to look out into space and particle accelerators to look at the tiniest bits of matter. But what if the greatest, most sophisticated laboratory for understanding the true nature of reality has been with us all along, just waiting to be explored? Our own consciousness.